Jubilee Circle's mission is different. If anybody has ever watched our live streams, if you have ever been to one of our celebrations in person, you know we're different. We are not like any church out there. We're not like any other spiritual community. Jubilee Circle, this is a spiritual dojo. This is the place where people come, they learn the inner moves, they learn the tools that they need to become the light of the world, to remember who they are, to remember that they are the light of the world and that their function in this world is to go out and be that light every single day. We are here to offer you the tools that you need to transform yourself, to expand yourself, to understand that you are the light of the world. You are the unlimited vastness of the holy. And we can help you connect. And we can help you find a community where you can grow and you can be transformed and you can transform the world. Good morning, everybody. We're having a fitness debate on strongman versus...
It's not a debate.
It's not a debate. Janice is right. It's not a debate.
Right.
It's just Janice is right. All right. Good morning, everybody.
I'll bring videos in.
Right, okay. All right, she has video proof.
I do. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Jubilee Circle. Welcome to the smattering of folks that we have in the building today. I know, Delta variant, kids, it's not a joke. So I understand if people are feeling safer at home. I understand. That's the way things are going. That's the way things are moving. We had so much hope, and then here we are. So we are in the Via Positiva, though. So we are going to remain in our Positiva. And our theme this quarter is How I Wonder. And so we have been exploring and discovering how wonder can help us experience more miracles and remember who we truly are. So how often do you play? And not just like goofing off or cracking jokes, but I mean, when is the last time you really threw yourself into playing so wholeheartedly that you lost track of time? You felt yourself set free from inhibitions. Do you even remember? Anybody? Who's like, nope.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You? Yeah?
The party we had at Beth's house.
Oh, yeah. We had a party was last year or something, and we that was Janice's
I laughed so
birthday.
hard.
It was our yeah.
It was our birthday,
Yeah, and
That's
we
true.
played. We really did. We played with abandon. But as children, we play all the time. Every moment in the day for a kid, it's an opportunity to just play, whether it's with other kids or even by ourselves. Play it was the order of the day. But as you get older, you get told to stop playing around. Get serious. Get serious about your life. Buckle down. Work hard. Well, as the saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and nobody enjoys a dull life. So as adults, we still need to play. It still should be an important part of our lives because not only is it fun, it's beneficial to our health. And if, as adults, we just need to hear that. Oh, I'll be healthier. Okay. But it can help relieve stress. It stimulates our creativity. It improves our connection to others, keeps us feeling young and energetic. With all the stress and the problems that we face today, we need a little play now more than ever. And the Holy is always inviting us to play, to drop our worries and our concerns and notice the beautiful flowers or the sunrise or the sunset, because creation is at play all the time. And it just invites us to step outside of our worries and our fears and throw ourselves into some delightful play wherever we are. It's when we can learn to see life as more play than work that we understand what it means to be fully alive, when we touch that inner, always playing higher divine child within, because that's when we get to say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we begin, as we do every celebration here at Jubilee Circle, by remembering the elements, the air, the water, the earth, and the fire. And we burn black sage because that invites us to set our intention. Perhaps our intention is to play more. So let us set the intention of playfulness this morning as we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the four directions.
Let us turn and face the east. Holy One, we thank you that the sun devotes its whole self to warming this little blue planet we inhabit. We thank you that the sun does not hold back and just give some of its warmth or what it thinks it can afford. Instead, the sun playfully and generously pours forth its entire life-giving wealth onto every inch of this place we call home. May we be like the sun, Holy One, and be open and playful enough to spread our wealth, light, and warmth with the same generous abandon. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. Holy One, even though we may sweat profusely in this summer heat, thank you for the South's ability to playfully give its heat, pounding us with its stifling humidity and moisture. Without the South's oppressive heat, we could not enjoy the coolness of fall and the chill of winter. May we be as open to the oppressive and of suffocating times in our own lives, appreciating them while they are here and knowing that cooler times are ahead where we can breathe deeply and give thanks. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. We give thanks, Holy One, that as the sun sets on this day and every day, it playfully relinquishes its place in the sky. It doesn't try to hold on for one more second. Instead, it allows the darkness to fully settle in and take over the night. Help us, Holy One, to allow any darkness we're experiencing to fully settle in, not to escape too quickly from our own dark thoughts and feelings. Help us to see them as ways to learn more deeply about you and ourselves. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. We give thanks, Holy One, that the north does not hold back the full force of its playfully chilly winds. Without the hard freeze, crops like wheat and corn can't grow. Without a hard freeze, pests like mosquitoes, flies, and fleas only increase. The cold is necessary for our cycle of life. Help us to give thanks for the cold and frozen times in our own lives, Holy One, where new growth and transformation can take playfully root and make us healthier and happier in the warm times. Turn back toward the center. You'll find a bunch of folks who are glad that the universe is so playful and generous with us.
Right.
But we are often hesitant to be that open. What if we get hurt? What if we get taken advantage of? What if, we worry? So what, says the Holy. All of creation gives generously and playfully, and some of us do take advantage of that and cause harm to our planet. But the universe never stops giving, never stops being open, because it knows that embracing playfulness is something we all need to do if we ever want to truly say, oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Please remain standing. We're going to sing a little Sheryl Crow this morning for us. Have some fun. All we want to do is have some fun. That's a whole different old crow. There's an old crow medicine show. So they sang Wagon Wheel. That's Wagon Wheel. All right, here we go. Hit it. Ain't no country club either. This is LA. All I want to do is have a little fun before I die, says the man next to me out of nowhere. It's apropos of nothing. He says his name is William, but I'm sure he's Bill or Billy or Mac or Buddy. And he's plain ugly to me, and I wonder if he's ever had a day of fun in his whole life. We are drinking beer at noon on Tuesday in the bar that faces the giant car wash. And the good people of the world are washing their cars on their lunch breaks, hosing and scrubbing as best they can in skirts and suits. And they drive their shiny Datsuns and Buicks back to the phone company, the record stores too. Well, they're nothing like Billy and me, 'cause all I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun until the sun comes up on the Santa Monica Boulevard. with buzz early in the morning. Billy likes to peel the labels from his bottles of bud. He shreds them off the bar and he lights up every match in an oversized pack, letting each one burn down his thick fingers before blowing and cursing them out. He's watching the bottles of bud as they spin on the floor, and a happy couple enters the bar, dangerously close to one another. The bartender looks up from his want ads, but all I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun until the sun comes up on a Santa Monica Boulevard. Otherwise the bar is ours, the day and the night and the car wash too, the matches and the buds and the clean and dirty cars, the sun and the moon. All I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun. I got a feeling the party's just begun. All I wanna do is have some fun. I won't tell you that you're the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun until the sun comes up on a Santa Monica Boulevard. Until the sun comes up on a Santa Monica Boulevard. Oh yeah. You may be seated. You don't know how hard that one was to practice. Sure, I've been singing with Sheryl Crow all weekend. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Jubilee Circle, either in the building or out there in TV land. We are happy that you are here with us today. Jubilee Circle is an inclusive, progressive interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and worldwide, thanks to the interwebs. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and the teachings of inspired secular and religious leaders throughout the centuries. And we seek to create a space for everyone to transform spiritually, whether it's this physical space or it's a space out there. We are holding this space for everyone for their transformation so they can find life's deeper meaning and love wastefully, engage with the world peacefully, do justice, all in this effort to live into our higher divine self. And we also recognize we are part of God's good creation. We are formed in love and joy as well as stardust. And we humans, we often forget this, though. We believe instead that we are lost in this world of paradox, where we encounter others as separate from ourselves. We look out and we see things and we judge them as beautiful or ugly, or good or bad, or generous or stingy, or loving and recalcitrant. Y'all never get tired of saying that. It's great. But let us.
It's a good thing because you always forget it.
I know. I always forget that word. Why do I always forget that word? Eventually, they're just going to go recalcitrant. It's recalcitrant. We would just say it. But let us remember our function here, Jubilants. What we are truly here to do is to return to the home that we've never left while we embody and become that channel for the love that created us. Oh, yeah. All right, a couple of announcements. Next Sunday, I'm going to be in Asheville. Don't be hating.
You better come back. I'm just saying.
Well, you know.
They can't afford to stay.
Exactly. We can't afford to stay. It's expensive out there. A weekend will do. But Laura Collins, who is the interim minister at Jubilee Community in Asheville, will be our guest speaker, so you get to see how the other half lives from the mothership up there in Asheville. And she will be speaking on the wonder of the journey. And the band has some great music planned for y'all. They're practicing up some good stuff, so they won't even need me next week. It'll be great. And then when I'm back on the 29th, see, I've got plans. I'm coming back. We're going to keep going on this How I Wonder theme, and we're going to use some music from Nick Lowe. We're going to explore the wonder of peace. And mark your calendars, Friday, September 3rd will be our First Friday open mic and coffee house. Our featured performer will be a man named Tim O'Keefe, and he will start at 7. Open mic starts at 8. So please join us for that. And before we move on, I want to say a couple of things about last week. So last week, we played the It's Totally Possible game. And thanks to Jim and everybody Bob and everybody who came up here and played and had a good time playing It's Totally Possible. So during the week, I was contacted by someone who was here and was very into it, and they were concerned that perhaps this It's Totally Possible game was very much like the Pentecostal holiness church that they grew up in, where you set your sights on something and you say, God, I'm asking you to do this for me. God, I'm asking you to bless me with this or that. And then if the thing doesn't come to pass, then it's because you didn't have enough faith. And so you're shamed. You're shamed for not having enough faith. And that is not the point of this game at all. All we are really here to do in our entire lives is to raise our vibrations, is to move from these egoic vibrations and emotions of shame and anxiety and apathy and anger and fear into the higher vibrations of courage and love and peace and joy. This is the project of our lives, is to just move out of those lower vibrations and not stay there any longer than we have to, and know that we can move up. We can move into a more positive feeling, not just in our bodies, but in our minds and our spirit. And so that's just what this is. It's a game. And here's the difference. When I'm saying, it's totally possible that Oprah calls me next week. If Oprah doesn't call me next week, I'm not going, oh my God, why didn't this happen? And somebody's going to say, you didn't have enough faith that Oprah was not going to call. I didn't have faith in the first place that Oprah was going to call me. I'm just using it to raise my vibration. Now, if Oprah calls, hey, that's a total surprise. Hopefully it's for a good reason, and it's not because I got into some controversy. But anyway, but there's no such thing as bad PR, right? But that's what I hear. So the difference between being shamed for God didn't answer your prayer because you didn't have enough faith to it's totally possible is that in the first instance, you are attached to the outcome. Because you're looking for it. That's what you're looking for. And sometimes the things that we look for tend to elude us even harder, because we're looking for them. We're not just opening up and allowing them. It's like it's like pursuing a deer. If you sit still long enough, the deer will come to you. And that's how we live our lives. Instead of pursuing, we allow. And so the It's Totally Possible game is just about allowing for possibilities. You're not chasing anything. You're not trying to get something to come to you. You're just saying, this is possible in a good sense, because we do it. Like I said last week, we do it all the time in the negative sense, that bad things are going to happen. So it's just a game to raise your vibration. Like the Rampage of Appreciation, it's just a way to get yourself out of your lower frequency into a higher one. So you're feeling better. You're feeling like there are more possibilities in the world, and you're not worried anymore. And I want to tell you how this works. Beth has mentioned this before, that one of our former members said, this shit works or it doesn't. So I want to tell you how it worked last week. So Michael stood up here and said that he wanted to be a master luthier. And there is a conference coming up in September? November. That he wanted to go to, but he does not have the means to do it. And the next day, he got the means. A freely given donation from Janice and her husband is making it possible. And he still set up a GoFundMe because he's going to need more money. You go to a convention, you want to buy stuff, you got to eat. So there's a GoFundMe out there. And yeah, I looked at it yesterday. You'd raised like over $300 already. So it's totally possible. Michael said it's totally possible that I can go to this convention. And now it's possible. And it's not because he had faith that it was going to happen. Miracles, my friends, they happen through relationships. They happen through other people. They don't just drop from the sky. If it hadn't been Janice and her husband who felt moved to help Michael out, maybe there's somebody else out there. Miracles happen through our relationships, and A Course in Miracles talks all the time about relationships, about how we see one another, how we act toward one another. And when we are acting toward love, when we are seeing one another as children of God and not enemies or obstacles, we are more apt to receive and give miracles through those relationships. This is what it's about. It's miraculous. It's totally possible. It's all just totally possible. And Michael didn't pursue it, but he allowed the space for it to be there, and it came. And that's a miracle. That's how it works. So I don't want you to think that what we're doing here is try to create something for shame. If Michael didn't get to go, if he didn't raise the money, no one was going to go to him and say, well, you just didn't believe hard enough, Michael. You didn't, you know. It's not. It's not about, we're trying to get to the higher vibrations. We're not trying to push ourselves back down. So just keep going. And then you get to that peace, and then all the circumstances around you, it doesn't matter anyway. Whatever's happening, you have the peace. Whatever's happening, you know the miracle is on the way. I hope that makes it clear. Thank you. And thank you. I'm just, just for that amazing generosity.
My pleasure.
Now Bob wants a ticket. All right. Hear these wise and holy words from this wise and holy one.
They're not from me. They're not my words.
Well, read by.
Just to be clear, read by. From the Jesus story, Mark 6:7-12. He called the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over the unclean spirits. He ordered them to take nothing for their journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals and not put on 2 tunics. He said to them, wherever you enter a house, stay there until you leave the place. If any place will not welcome you and they refuse to hear you, as you leave, shake off the dust that is on your feet as a testimony against them. From Lesson 153 of the Workbook of A Course in Miracles. Salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. It was designed by one who loves his children and who would replace their fearful toys with joyous games, which teach them that the game of fear is gone. His game instructs in happiness because there is no loser. Everyone who plays must win, and in his winning is the gain to everyone insured. The game of fear is gladly laid aside when children come to see the benefits salvation brings. You who have played that you are lost to hope, abandoned by God, left alone in terror in a fearful world made mad by sin and guilt, be happy now. That game is over. Now a quiet time has come in which we put away the toys of guilt, the lock our quaint and childish thoughts of sin forever from the pure and holy minds of heaven's children and the Son of God. From Christian mystic Teresa of Avila, laughter came from every brick. Just these 2 words he spoke changed my life. Enjoy me. What a burden I thought I was to carry, a crucifix, as did he. Love once said to me, I know a song. Would you like to hear it? And laughter came from every brick in the street and from every pore in the sky. After a night of prayer, he changed my life when he sang, Enjoy me.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and sing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doctors have come from distant cities just to see me. Stand over my bed, disbelieving what one other thing to add. If anyone is ever confused or has questions or whatever about my talks or sermons or whatever you want to call them, contact me, like this person did. I love to, if you disagree even, I'd love to have that conversation. So don't ever think that if you have a question or you think, oh, that's wrong, let's talk about it. I like that. That's one of the reasons why I like the talkbacks is, people get to have their opinion and then I can tell you why you're wrong.
There it is.
That was my ego, yeah. Or you can tell me why I was wrong. It's all good too. It all works. All right. This song, our first song, comes from a little-known singer-songwriter who dabbles in the crafts when the mood strikes her. That would be me. But this song I wrote back in 2014, I think. It was inspired by today's reading from St. Teresa of Avila. It's called "Enjoy Me." Hit it. Here we go. 1, 2. In there. That's fine. It's okay. I began playing guitar when I was a teenager. I could not afford formal lessons, so I sat in my bedroom with a cheap pawn shop guitar and a big book of songs by The Who that featured these enormous chord-shaped drawings, and I got to work. Now, anyone who has learned a musical instrument knows that when you begin, you sound awful. And I was no exception. The chord shapes, these were all new to me about how it takes a while for them to become muscle memory. My left hand just went into revolt. No, it's not going to do this. And then, doing it smoothly, you're like, or wait, because you haven't gotten your fingers down all the way yet. And then you're like, wait a minute, next door. Right. So it was torturous. I mean, not just for me and my soon-to-be calloused fingers, but anybody within earshot. It was torture. Over time, though, I got a bit better, and I even formed a band with some of my friends when I was in my late teens, early 20s. It was the 80s. We knew 3 chords really well. We wrote 80s style punk and alternative rock lyrics. I have to give credit to our lead guitar player, though. He was amazing. The rest of us were like, what? A B what? We got a few gigs in Athens, Georgia, home of such great bands as REM and the B-52s, but it became obvious pretty quickly that our band star was just not going to go on such a meteoric rise. So after a few gigs in Athens and more than a few artistic disagreements, we went our separate ways, and I hung up my guitar. I literally put it in a closet for most of my adult life. I dusted it off during my first relationship because she wanted to sing. But my skills were rusty, and I knew I was just never going to make a living playing music. So when that relationship ended, so did my short flirtation with going back to guitar playing. So I had put the guitar completely out of my mind as I entered my 30s until one day I was talking with my therapist about the band she had asked me about the past and all that, and I was recounting how much fun we had playing together and doing that fun Athens scene for a little while. And she was silent for a moment, and when she spoke, she asked me this really odd question. I thought this was odd. You know, we're here to talk about important things, lady. What are we talking about? And she said, why don't you play anymore? And I laughed, and I said, you know, what's the point? It's not like I'm going to be a rock star. So she let that comment hang in the air for a minute, and then she asked, did you enjoy playing? And that just set me off on this description of what I'm really trying to capture for myself and for everyone today in today's talk. It's how to embrace playfulness. I told her, yeah, of course. I loved playing the guitar, and I described, I didn't know all of, chords or theory or all that stuff really well. I had been in bands, so I know how to read music, but I just knew nothing about the guitar. And so what I would just do was sit for hours and just play up and down the neck, even if it sounded like crap. I just got lost in the notes, in the chords, in the dissonances, in the harmonies. I would just play at the guitar, and I'd be like, 4 hours have passed, and I'm just lost in it. Those times of just playing at it with no goal in mind, they were transcendent. In short, my ability to embrace playfulness on the guitar transported me out of the wanna-be a rock star ego into this place where all that mattered was just the beauty of the music itself. After which my therapist looked at me and asked that money question, so why can't you just play because you enjoy it? It would take me years to absorb the wisdom in that lesson and really hear what she said, because my ego was just all involved in the moment. In that moment, all I could understand was that this piece of wood and strings was not going to make me rich or famous. So
it's totally possible.
Huh? Totally possible.
Still true.
But back then, I thought, what was the point? I was too busy playing totally possible in the negative. Right? But I was busy. I was busy with my career. I was trying to get up the ladder, grab that ring of success as a journalist. And just embracing playfulness for the sake of playfulness was a waste of my time. And we're all like that to some degree. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, we often avoid a lot of things we might enjoy because we believe the lie of the world that everything we do has to profit us in some material way. Otherwise, it's useless. This is what happens when we let the greedy ego run the show. The ego sees everything outside of itself in this world as either a tool to get ahead or a tool to keep somebody else from getting ahead of us. So the ego can use anything from the remote possibility of becoming a rock star to the even more remote possibility of winning the lottery to keep us away from embracing playfulness in this world. You see, the world is full of very serious people. That's capitalized, very serious people, who believe that to succeed in this world, you got to put away the childish things of play. You got to work hard all the time and become a very serious person if you're going to amount to anything. We see very serious people in a lot of places that should otherwise be teaching us how to embrace this holy playfulness. The church, it can be an especially somber place filled with very serious people doing very serious work for God. They preach very serious sermons about very serious topics, and they warn of very serious consequences if those very serious doctrines and very serious dogmas are not taken very seriously and very seriously follow. Seriously. Playing around is seen as sacrilegious. It's blasphemy. It is an affront to God. I would argue, though, that our spirituality is the best place for us to be playful. Lesson 153 in A Course in Miracles tells us that salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. Now remember, salvation, according to the Course, it doesn't mean we've been saved from sin because some guy named Jesus got himself strung up on a cross. No. Instead, salvation, it means having our feelings of separation healed by allowing, it's all about this allowing the Holy Spirit to simply correct our mistaken thinking. We are not sinners in need of salvation. We are slumbering children in need of awakening from this dream of separation. And we can do that through play. This lesson tells us that because the game that God created replaces our fearful toys, such as fear and anger and guilt, despair and separation. Those fearful toys get replaced with joyous games, which teach us that the game of fear is gone, this lesson says. In this holy game, according to the Course, there are no losers. And it's not just a trophy for everybody, because everybody needs to feel good. There are no losers because there's only one of us here. Everyone who plays must win, this lesson says. And in their winning is the gain to everyone insured. So when one wins, when you get into that higher vibration, the whole world wins. If we are playing this game of love instead of fear, we win not just for ourselves, but for everybody, because we heal the mistakes of separation that created this ego-controlled and fear-driven world. But the problem, we said, the Course says, we get caught up in the ego's zero-sum game of fear. That zero-sum game of hatred and guilt that has definite winners and losers. And we forget we have a choice. We have a choice to play a completely different game. One where there are no losers, where everyone awakens to the reality of who they are. Everyone remembers that they are the light of the world. So how can we take our lives and situations so seriously when God is constantly inviting us to play? The invitation there, it's in every moment. From the Rorschach test of the clouds as they pass by, inviting us to just stop and see some interesting shapes. The nudge of a dog seeking your attention or a game of fetch. The invitations to embrace playfulness are with us in every moment. It could be as subtle as that summer breeze out there that just invites us to stop and enjoy it, or as big as the breathtaking view of the Grand Canyon that playfully challenges us to even just begin to take in that beautiful vista. When we can embrace the playfulness of God at every moment, no matter what the present circumstances seem to be like, that's when we get to hear laughter rise from every brick and feel joy rain down from the sky. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. The world becomes a blur, but slowly begins to stir. That voice inside says there's no need to hide. Each day brings a new vision, each moment a decision. Will we take it in or hurry it by once again? Story, we find our guy given some really specific instructions, I guess, to his disciples. It is coffee, I swear. Coffee and sugar. I mean, no. Fake sugar. Anyway. So in the Jesus story, he's given some really specific instructions to those disciple dudes before he sends them out into the world to spread his message of embracing playfulness. Yes, that's exactly what his message was. We miss it because we're very serious people. But when we look at those instructions, they seem rather unplayful. They do seem a bit harsh. The disciples are told that when they go out into the world, they got to go travel lightly. Don't take any food. Don't take any money. Don't take a bag with you, which they wouldn't need anyway since they got nothing to put in it. Don't even take a change of clothes. Don't wear 2 tunics. So don't even, just whatever's on your back right now. Go on. It almost seems like Jesus is preparing them for some Palestinian version of Survivor, right? Naked and afraid. In a metaphysical sense, though, when we look at what the disciples are forbidden from carrying with them, food, money, clothes, a fashionable bag, we can see that these are all the trappings that the ego really likes for us to have because it heralds our rank in the world. We are at our most powerful in this ego world when we've got lots of food, lots of money, lots of clothes, and the ability to take it out in the world and show it all off. Instead, when we do that, much of our lives turns into maintaining the lifestyle so we can keep all of these trappings and more. But Jesus telling the disciples and us that we must lighten not only this outer load, but the inner load if we ever hope to tame our very serious ego and embrace that playfulness of our higher divine self. So, we know what we can't take with us. We can't take these outer trappings that the ego loves to use to flaunt its superiority. So what can we take? We can take a staff. And we're not talking about a bunch of people that help you. Not that kind of staff. Cats have staff. And we're not talking about a literal staff either. What Jesus is inviting us to do is take up the staff, the inner staff of love and joy and peace that creates within us an equanimity toward ourselves and all living creatures. When we walk in the world knowing we are not just surrounded by the love of God, but we are actually the embodiment of that love and equanimity for all, then it gets returned to us 100-fold, even more. A literal staff, when ancient travelers would carry one, it did a lot of things. It had a lot of function. You could rest on it, you could lean on it. You could defend yourself from attackers, whether it's man or animal. But this inner staff, the inner staff of love, it provides rest. It centers ourselves. And we can use it to defend ourselves from the ego's insistence that we are on this fool's errand when we dedicate ourselves to a life of love. So practically speaking, Jesus is telling the disciples and us that when we walk not just with empty hands, but a heart empty of judgment or hatred or fear or guilt, everything we need will be provided for us. That can include all the outward trappings of money or housing or other resources, but it also provides the inner strength we need to live into our true identity as the light of the world. So I'm betting Jesus' disciples, who often kept playing the ego's game of fear, they probably had some reactions to these instructions to go out into the world about probably the same sort of reaction I had about my guitar. I mean, if I'm not out in the world to get rich and famous, why am I doing this? So what Jesus was encouraging his disciples and us to do is engage in something called deep play. In her book by the same name, writer Diane Ackerman describes deep play as that which helps us transcend our petty competitive selves. Jesus was trying to tell his disciples their job was not to go out and convert as many people as possible, but to love as many people as possible. Some people we meet may refuse or ignore that love, but Jesus knew that simply encountering loving people would plant that seed within those other people that would later take root. Play, Ackerman writes, gives us the opportunity to perfect ourselves. And that's the ultimate importance of embracing playfulness, because it gives you a chance to perfect your spiritual journey, to tame that ego that says the only things worth doing is whatever makes you special in the world. And the Course would say that by perfecting your higher divine self, you will perfect the world, because you are playing the ultimate game, the game that cannot be lost. You're playing the game of love, where fear is gladly laid aside. And not everybody's going to want to play this game with you. Some will even call you a woo-woo spiritual bypass new age nut. And that's where forgiveness comes into play. Where you can just shake the dust off your feet when people don't understand the playful game of love, the one that no one can lose, that you've chosen to play. Enjoy me. That's what God said to Teresa of Avila. Those 2 words, she says, changed my life. And they are words that can change ours as well. How many times have we been afraid to enjoy life, to just enjoy life? Because we think other people are not enjoying their lives, so why should I enjoy mine? How can I be happy? There's so many sad and suffering people in the world. But is that true, or is that just a projection of our own ego onto other people's lives? I mean, we know what makes us happy. We know what we enjoy in life, but how can we be the judge of another's joy? When we see people in other parts of the world living in poverty or war zones, we think, how can they possibly enjoy life? But when you listen to their stories, you find that they do. But perhaps they enjoy their lives in different ways than we do. We may enjoy the things in our lives, but those without so many things, they enjoy the deeper pleasures of relationships with their families and their friends. They understand God's invitation to enjoy me in a different way than we do, and they know how to be playful, even in the midst of situations that may crush you or me. When we can hear God's song of love, jubilance, even from those we consider to be worse off than we are, laughter comes from every brick in the street and every pore in the sky, writes St. Teresa. So how would it change the way you live, jubilance, if you embraced playfulness in every moment of your life, even in your moments of deepest despair? How would it change the way you lived if you resolved to take nothing seriously except your function to be God's love and light in this world? How would it change the way you lived if you embraced this holy game so deeply that you found yourself falling in love with every person, with every creature that you encounter, because you understand nobody loses this game? How would it change the way you live, jubilance, if you simply lived your life because you enjoyed it, whether the world lauded you or ignored you? How would it change the way you live if you could understand the profound simplicity of these 2 words? Enjoy me. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, enjoy me. Enjoy me. This long and says, enjoy me. Enjoy me. Joy will always fly. Love once sang me a song of joy. invite you during this prayer time, enjoy yourself wherever you are. Sitting in here, sitting in your comfy chair in the house. I invite you to enjoy yourself. Stop thinking about stuff that you don't enjoy. Play, it's totally possible. No strings attached. It's totally possible. It's totally possible that in these next few minutes you can enjoy yourself. One, two, three, four. Love and kindness, yeah. All right. One of the things we take very seriously is money. Because we think money is everything. We work our entire lives in jobs we may not like for a little piece of paper. It's true, money is a resource. But money is also energy, just as everything in this world is energy. And energy, if it does not flow freely, there's a light switch, there's off and on. And when we turn off the energy, we tend to sit in darkness, right? The lights are off. But when we flip that switch, we allow energy to flow, everybody wins. The whole world is lighted. The whole world can see. Energy has been depleted by COVID. But that is only because we have allowed it to be so. Because COVID has taken away, it has taken away our freedoms, and not in the way that, the controversial way we talk about it. But we think that the way society is right now, we can't freely be out in the world giving or doing or in the ways that we have in the past. But energy is still flowing. And we see society changing because people have decided where they really want to put their energy. Do you want to put your energy in a low-paying job, in a job that doesn't please you, in a job that doesn't make you happy or bring you joy? No. A lot of people are saying no. They're not. They're not going to do it. So we have choices where we put our energy. We want to put our energies, the world says, into very serious things. Building your success, building your bank account. But what if it's about building things that transform you? What if it's about putting your energy into whatever is making the world a better place? Whatever is making you a better being? Whatever is allowing you to become more and more and more in those joyful, peaceful, loving places within yourself. That's Jubilee Circle. That's what we're here for. We're here to create that space, that time, that ability for you to channel your energy in ways that make you joyful, peaceful, loving, generous, courageous. All of those higher vibrations. And money is a resource. And money, like everything else, can have a higher or lower vibration. You give your money grudgingly, that's a low vibration. That's why the Bible says God loves a cheerful giver. You're giving at that higher vibration. And that giving at that higher vibration gets used at the higher vibration. So we want you to be joyful givers. And we're very happy for the joyful people who have kept this place going. And now as we tried to reopen and oh crap, and everything slows back down again. You have a choice. What game are you playing? Let's play the game where nobody loses. Doesn't matter what the forms are. Nobody loses this game. And we appreciate your support. You can give online, jubileecircle.com. There are a couple of links to Venmo and to PayPal. You can give by check. Post office box address is there on your bulletin or at jubileecircle.com. So we ask that you give, and we ask that you give joyfully, that you give in love, because we will receive it in that way. Oh, yeah. And we will be joyfully on Zoom in just a few minutes for a little discussion, fellowship, and talk back, and you're welcome to join us there. The link is at jubileecircle.com or on our Facebook page. And if you plan to join us there, we will see you there in a few minutes. If not, we hope you have an amazing week. Remember to play a little this week. Find a playground. Go swing on the swings. Man, I used to love to do that. Slide down some slides somewhere. Have a good time. Because Holy is inviting us to play all the time. And gratitude is a form of play, and that's what Meister Eckhart means when he says, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire lives is thank you, that will be enough because you are living in that place of playful gratitude. And so we all say, thank you.
Thank you.
And we say,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hearts and arms open wide. Make our way by walking, in love we will abide. The path is always open, and no traveler is denied. So open up your heart, forget those tears you cried. Because we all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hand in hand. And side by
Oh yeah. All right, if you're joining us on the Zoom, please do. If not, we'll see you next week. And thank you to Jim Mounts over there on all the amazing camera work. Thanks to the band, thanks to everybody, and thanks to you. Oh yeah.